What does that mean to you, Black History Month?
It means that that's racism because they don't celebrate White History Month. We don't have it. I'm part Italian. I don't have Italian History Month. So what I think it's doing is perpetuating what this divide is in our nation, quite honestly, because I don't feel like that should be highlighted. I don't think that they should be pushing their agenda on myself because I'm a straight male, I have a wife, and I have children. I don't think that I should have to be bombarded and brainwashed through media, through those months or Pride, Black History. I don't think that's something that should be, dictated to me.
Is it a learning opportunity?
Not at all, because when I was in school, we learned, certain Black leaders, things like that. I don't need to hear it every single year for a whole month.
The Trump administration has begun lifting desegregation orders in the Deep South. Earlier this week, the Justice Department lifted a school desegregation order in Louisiana and hinted that they would be removing additional desegregation orders dating back to the civil rights movement because those historical wrongs are now gone. Officials appointed by President Trump have said that they're going to withdraw desegregation orders from all over the Deep South because they're no longer needed. Now, there's more than 130 school systems under the Justice Department desegregation orders, primarily in Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi, with a smaller number in Florida, Louisiana, and South Carolina. Now, of these 130 school systems, more than 60 of them have had some sort of civil rights violation within the last decade. In response to this message from the Justice Department, Raymond Pierce, the president and CEO of the Southern Education Foundation, had to say, "It represents a disregard for education opportunities for a large section of America. It represents a disregard for America's needs to have an educated workforce, and it represents a disregard for the rule of law."
Stop, ma'am! Stop! 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 Stop right there! Tell the Congressman in your arms. Your arms. I got her arms. Stop. Stop. Hey, she's gonna go arrest. Arrest her right now. You're under arrest.
Welcome to America in the year 2025, because that took place in America, in Massachusetts specifically, where police officers and ICE agents arrested a mother and her teenage daughter. They took the teenage daughter and slammed her face into the ground and then pushed a woman aside with a baby in her arms. And you're telling me those are the good guys. You tell me those are the people that are doing what's right for this country, making us safer. How is that possible? If you think that, you must have watched the Star Wars movies and thought, those stormtroopers, they're doing good work. These police officers go home at night, pat themselves on the back and go, I'm doing good work. This is just mind-blowing that this is happening, and it's happening everywhere now. It's not just happening in one state, it's happening everywhere you look. And this is not what the average American wants. This is brutality. This is police state. These people are showing up with no warrants. They're racially profiling people to pull them over and then arrest them. And this is just unacceptable. I don't know what else to say at this point. I mean, you can contact your representative. You can contact your governor. If you live in a red state, I'm not even sure any of that matters. It's going to take an uprising at some point. Where is the breaking point? If you watch that and it doesn't break your heart, then there's something broken inside of you. I wish I had answers. I don't. If you do, please let me know. But this is America under the leadership of Donald Trump in the year 2025. And it's not right.
Someone please explain to me why conservative white men feel they are under attack in the United States. Because the last time I checked, every single U.S. president has been a man. Only one of those men has been a man of color. White men have never been enslaved in this country. White men have never been denied their right to vote in this country. Nor has that ever been on the fucking table. Just because people want the same rights that you've always had doesn't mean that you're the victim.
US News won't show you this, but I will. The president of Germany just issued one of the harshest warnings about Donald Trump yet. In a speech commemorating the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, the president of Germany just said that Trump's policies represent an epical break from global democracy. He did not hold back at all. He's accusing Trump of wrecking alliances, cozying up to extremists, and basically tearing apart the post-World War II rulebook. This isn't coming from the radical left, from Twitter trolls. This is Germany's head of state, warning the world that Trump is pushing democracies to their edge. When the president of Germany is saying that Trump is breaking the world order, we should probably listen. And in Germany, it's a bit different. There's both a chancellor and a president. In this case, President Frank Steinmeier's job is not just to be a politician. His job is literally to safeguard democracy's values. But hey, what would Germany know about ignoring the dangers of rising extremism?
Every white South African is racist. Every single one. Including you. Including me. We were born into a racist country, raised by racist systems, taught by racist textbooks, and disciplined by racist norms. Unless you've been consciously deprogrammed, that requires pain, effort, and education, you are still operating from a racist framework. Having black friends doesn't erase your racism. Voting for black politicians. No. Sleeping with someone of another race? Ha! Still racist. Whiteness isn't just calling someone a slur. It's the silent belief that whiteness is neutral and everything else is different. I don't see color while bleaching your hair and contouring your face. You see color just fine. You just don't want to deal with what it means. The entire education system would collapse overnight if we taught the truth. Apartheid wasn't resolved and whiteness is still centered. Your skin color isn't the problem. Your silence is. Your comfort is. Humanity expresses itself in shades, and racism denies that expression. South Africa, we're still living in the lie.
ICE raids are decimating my hometown right now, all throughout Nashville. And I'm looking online, and a lot of people think this is funny. They're chuckling. People's lives are getting ripped apart. These folks are getting pulled over, arrested, detained, on their way to make you a meal, on their way to build your next house. And you think this is funny. And I'm willing to bet you call yourself a Christian, don't you? You probably got like a cross picture somewhere on your Facebook profile, don't you? On Judgment Day, you're going to have to look Jesus right in the eye. I doubt you'll be able to do it. And he's going to ask you why you supported this absolute cruelty that at this moment you're completely okay with, that you think is humorous. And I want you to keep those words that you keep saying to all of us queued up. Keep them on your lips, right on the tip of your tongue. Oh, I just want them to come here legally. I want you to say that to Jesus Christ on Judgment Day. And I promise you, the moment those words come out of your mouth, he's going to Jesus slap your ass straight to hell. This isn't funny. Read your Bible.
If a black person says they hate me because I'm white, that's literally racism. It's literally not. That is an example of prejudice. So when a person of color says something hurtful to a white person based on the color of their skin, I don't like white people because they're the worst. That's prejudice, not racism. Okay, but it's literally all the same thing. No, it's not. Pretend I'm black. You are bird watching in a park and I say, I'm calling the cops. That doesn't even make any sense. Why would you call the cops? Exactly. But it doesn't matter. I'm calling the cops. What are you going to do? Nothing. Go ahead. I don't care. Exactly. You're not worried. You're figuring, oh, the cops will get here and I'll just tell them I was bird watching. Duh. Okay, so a person of color doesn't have that same luxury. Roles reversed. I was bird watching in a park. You tell me you're going to call the cops. Now I'm worried that the cops are going to show up and shoot me without even asking questions. You have institutional power on your side to oppress me, a black person.
Bernie drew a huge crowd in Philadelphia, but dozens of people were arrested. Can you guess what skin color they were? Black people have been targeted by the police in Philadelphia, even though they were peacefully protesting. Peaceful assembly is guaranteed in the fucking Constitution. These vile pigs decided to go after older black women in particular and falsely arrest them when they were doing nothing but exercising their constitutionally protected right to peaceful assembly. This hideous and odious racism needs to stop. Every one of these goddamn crackers cops in Philly needs to be investigated for false arrest and deliberate racial targeting. Black people have continued to hold the fucking water for every goddamn protest. They mobilize their base to show up to fucking election. And this is the thankless fascist horseshit that they are subjected to. This needs to fucking stop.
Oklahoma, are you okay? Because your Board of Education just okayed a brand new curriculum that is going to push MAGA conspiracy theories. Oklahoma Board of Education is now saying that their teachers have to teach that the 2020 election was fraudulent. And they also are supposed to be teaching that COVID-19 indeed did come from a lab in China, which has not been proven. This new curriculum comes from the man who said that he needed a Bible in every single classroom throughout Oklahoma. And not just any Bible, the Trump Bible. Now that hasn't happened because that is tied up in the courts, as several family members were upset and sued him over this. Oklahoma is also a school that has 10 commandments posted in every classroom and is pushing Christian values. Ryan Walters, the man who is pushing all this, has also been seen sending out videos to his students' parents praying for Donald Trump. So you guys, this is a huge problem we have in Oklahoma. So I hope you guys can figure that out.
So this person donated $1,488. $14.88. 14 represents the 14 words of white supremacy, and 88 represents the letter HH, which is what they used to say to Hitler when they gave him the Sieg Heil. This person only donated $15, but they said, "We're coming inward," the word you think it says. This person donated $25 and said, "You said what everyone else is thinking. Your bravery is inspirational." This person donated $50 and said, "These animals." This one donated $10, white pride worldwide. This person donated $650 and wrote a fucking paragraph, sending my personal support. We're all fatigued and know that rather than changing their behavior, minorities insist on trying to police our words. So what is everybody donating to? This right here. This is not GoFundMe. It's on a site called Give, Send, Go. And if you don't recognize her, there's a video that's going around online. Go look at Tizzy Ant's page. He blew it up, where a child took something out of her child's diaper bag at the playground, and because it was a black child, she called the child the N-word, hard ER. Another man heard her say it and recorded her, to which she said it over and over and over on video. This is what she wrote on her Give, Send, Go page. "I called the kid out for what he was, because the kid, who is probably 2 years older, younger, was black and made her mad, took something from her child's diaper bag. She called it out for what he was, an N-word, hard ER," which they all agreed with. Bravery, inspirational, First Amendment rights. How much has it raised? Oh, only $119,000. The year is 2025. This woman called a child, a fucking child, a racial slur, and white people around the country rallied around her, gave her over $100,000, donated using Nazi numerology, made their feelings very clear. And let's be abundantly fucking clear, the white supremacists in the White House emboldens these people. I need you to understand that this Give, Send, Go represents exactly where our country is right now. We've never held white supremacy accountable. White people have been screaming that racism is a thing of the past forever. And this right here shows us exactly where we are. Like watermarks on a ship. This is where we are. And it will get worse before it gets better.
You better get your ass from off my porch beating on my door like this. I will call the police. You need to leave. Don't you ever beat on my goddamn door like that. Go. Okay.
My name's Kylie, and I studied psychology because I wanted to figure out whether people are good or evil. The answer is neutrality, shaped by environmental factors and words. Meaning most people are inherently pretty neutral, but leaning towards good. They want to do the right thing. However, what allows them to commit the most evil and awful acts against another human being? Words. Not only is dehumanizing propaganda a first step in actual genocide, but it is also crucial in maintaining an oppressive social order. Because if you begin to see the people that you are subjugating, assaulting, and saying as actual human beings, most people cannot go through with those actions. But if you refer to them as rats, cockroaches, scum of the earth, evil, it is easier to treat someone terribly. All it takes is one person with evil intentions who is a powerful speaker to get the right rhetoric to hit the majority of people at the right time and suddenly state-sanctioned violence. So it's important to see every human being as a human being. If you talk about people in a bad way, whether it's an immigrant or an unhoused person, you could be contributing to violence down the line. Each human being matters.
White people broke the earth. White people, not all of you individually, but the systems you built, the empires you enforced, the profit you prioritized over life. You broke the earth. You didn't just show up and settle. You came with guns, greed, and God. You took land that wasn't yours, spilled blood on sacred ground, and called it destiny. You clear-cut forests, enslaved people, dug holes in the earth for gold, turned the sky into a smokestack, and renamed the destruction growth. You made the land yours by force. You made water something to sell. You made civilization mean white skin, private property, and concrete. You told the world that nature was wild, that people who honored it were savages, and that domination was salvation. And when the earth cried out, when her lungs burned and her rivers turned black, you didn't stop. You invented new ways to profit from collapse. Now you want to fix it? Now you want to lead the way? No, you are not the solution. You are the crisis. But this story doesn't end with you, because the earth is not dead, not defeated. It is wounded, but it remembers. It remembers those who loved it before you fenced it off, and mined its soul. It remembers the songs sung to rivers, the hands that planted with gratitude, the fire keepers, the medicine carriers, the people who knew the earth was not a thing, but a living relative. We remember too. We remember that your empires are fragile, that your borders are fake, that your wealth is stolen, and that your time is running out. The earth can be healed, but not by white saviors, not by carbon offsets, not by policies written in boardrooms. Healing will come through justice, through land back, through reparations, through abolition, through the return of what was stolen, and the dismantling of what never should have existed. The earth isn't dying, it's remembering, and it will only heal when white power ends. Cope.
Hey, it's me. Just wanted to take a minute. I've probably made 4 or 5 different videos that I've been wanting to talk about this particular topic. And what I'm about to say is going to seem as elementary as it comes. But as a white man, a house had to practically fall on me before I understood what was going on. And the more that I stand and look, the bigger this truth becomes. The deeper it runs, this truth that I'm about to say. And I want to word this carefully because I don't want. I'm just gonna word it carefully. As a white man in the 21st century, if I don't stand up, if I don't take a notice and look and learn and see what is really happening to non-white people that are set up in a system by white people to oppress non-white people, particularly through the hundreds of years, the centuries that there have been black people and people that were non-white. I want to be careful saying this, that were murdered, senselessly murdered, slaughtered for no other reason than they didn't like the color of their skin. If I don't stand up to this system, that I am just as guilty as those centuries ago that started killing black people because of the color of their skin. I am guilty of the deaths of the slaves. I am guilty of the oppression. I am guilty of the bloodshed. Their blood is on my hands. If I don't stand up to a system and at least not participate in a system that promotes the mindset that whites are the white supremacy. If I don't stand up to white supremacy, if I leave it alone, if I ignore it, I'm a white supremacist. If I don't stand up for people of all colors, then I'm a slave owner. I'm a murderer. The blood of these people that was shed will be on my hands because I'm supporting a system that still considers people, black people, Hispanic people, any particular color or race as beneath me as a white man. I am just as guilty of that. And that is why I'm ashamed to be white.
This is Glenn Youngkin, Virginia's Republican governor. He worked with the state school board to delete Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Barack Obama, and Juneteenth from the public school history books. So maybe we should be asking questions of people like him in school education boards who are rewriting history and banning books instead of the education department, whose primary responsibility is to handle federal student loans, Pell Grants, Title I for underfunded public schools, and funding education for disabled students.
I think the problem with the internet is that people don't realize that, like, you could get hit. Like, this Lily Gaddis chick, the one that was on Piers Morgan defending Shiloh and saying that she frequently uses the N-word. I think the problem is that she doesn't think that she's going to catch hands. And I truly believe that if people thought that there was going to be physical repercussions for their actions more often, they would shut the fuck up.
That's definitely tight, bro. That's for sure. You recording? Record this. See it. Oh, that's crazy. Bro, where Mr. Richards at, bro? I'm done. That got me messed up.
That's crazy.
Just saw another creator on here make a really great point, which is white women need to intervene in these ICE raids. We are the ones that need to insert ourselves in these situations and make it super messy, super dirty, super mean. And I say this with all the compassion in my heart. It's okay to take a hit. If you get hurt, it's like falling off a bike. You're scared, you're stunned, you will be okay. But we need to make serious moves, serious concessions to stand up to these forces. We need to make it as hard as possible, as loud as possible for this to continue to happen.
You murder a man's son in front of him and expect him to sit still, smile for the cameras, file a complaint to the same people who loaded the gun and wrote the damn manual? Nah, that ain't how grief works when the state is your executioner. The cop killed his boy, murdered his boy. Wasn't no mistake, wasn't no split-second decision. It was patterned, practiced, protected, just like the 1,300 plus people cops killed in 2024. Most of them black, brown, or poor. Less than 2% face charges. You understand what that means? That means you could be next. Your baby could be next. And the badge gets a bonus, not a consequence. So Rodney did what the courts wouldn't. He didn't shoot a man. He struck back at a system that's been gunning us down for generations. They call it murder. I call it mourning that got tired of begging. Y'all ever read Asada Shakur? She said, no one is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. They damn sure ain't going to give you the justice either. You gotta take it. Ain't that what they teach soldiers overseas? Neutralize the threat. Defend your people. But here, if you're not wearing the flag on your shoulder or the badge on your chest, they call you a criminal for surviving. Rodney didn't wake up looking to kill. He woke up buried under the weight of a world that watched his boy die like it was a rerun. You think he ain't screamed into the void, prayed, pleaded, wrote statements, marched? We ain't stupid. We know this system ain't built to protect us. The cops are the violence. They enforce the poverty. They guard the billionaires. They crush, protest, kick down doors, plant fear like seeds, and water it with bullets. Rodney Hinton just finally said enough. And maybe this country had half the courage he did. Maybe we stopped making martyrs out of parents and hashtags out of teenagers. The biggest gang in America would finally see what accountability tastes like. But I won't hold my breath. I'll keep my boots laced.
Rodney Hinton, y'all wasting y'all time. I'm telling you, this man literally ran over a police sheriff's deputy after he was accused of unaliving his son the day before in a routine traffic stop. Yes, everybody's in on it. Everybody wants to know what happened. But this man had to go into trial with 30 deputies trying to stare him down and intimidate him. This man had no remorse. The day before, y'all unalived his son in a police shooting, okay? And then y'all want to try to intimidate this man after losing his son because he ran over one of yours? How do you think he feels? I'm just asking. He lost his son. He is a father. Yeah, you lost a brother in arms, but he don't care. He is ready to take on every one of y'all deputies. He did. He's ready to serve his time. He's ready to roll. Y'all ain't intimidating him. He's ready to make his peace with what he done. I'm just saying. Rodney Hinton did not care what police officer he took out. He didn't care. Y'all can say it was the right cop, it was the wrong cop. He fit the description, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way he saw it. His son was took from him the day before after an altercation with the police department in Cincinnati. And he didn't care. All that man knew was that he lost his son. Everything that he had been through the past 18 years with that poor boy, regardless of the situation where he stole a car, he had a pew-pew, whatever it may be. Y'all are looking at it all wrong. Y'all try to blame the parents for raising a bad child. Is your child perfect? Nope. I guarantee you, you might think they're perfect, but they're playing you like a fiddle. Them kids, they're going out and they're experiencing their own thing out in the world. I can guarantee you that. They're doing their own thing. They don't care. And he lost his son. In pure anger, he took it and done something terrible. He will live down the consequences of that. He will do his time. But it does not matter. He thought he was right. Prayers go out to that family and all of the prayers to the family of all the officers involved.
you do not understand why people are supportive of Rodney Hinton, then you're probably part of the problem. You probably say dumbass shit like back the blue more than you actually listen. Policing itself is rooted in slavery and in racism. Young black men being unalived at the hands of officers is not a new thing. So see, what Rodney Hinton did would have never happened if his son was still here. They took one of his, so he took one of theirs. And the crimes in which his son allegedly participated in, they're not crimes that warrant losing his life. And might I remind you that this happened in Cincinnati, Ohio. Ohio is an open carry state, and you don't even need a goddamn permit here. And another thing about Rodney Hinton, not a criminal. Nope. He has zero criminal history. Not a felon. In fact, he's a college graduate. But those facts don't fit y'all's narrative, does it? By ignoring these facts, you're perpetuating racism, stereotypes. You want it to be as if this man wasn't present or was a poor role model for his son. You're shifting the blame of the white cop, whose name is yet to be released, to the victim. So congratulations, because not only are you a racist, but you also enjoy victim blame.
People saying that the difference between, and therefore the reason why they support Luigi Mangione but not Rodney Hinton Jr. is because Luigi Mangione hit his intended mark, whereas Rodney Hinton Jr. hit an officer who was not the one who shot his son. That is a fairly hollow difference, because Luigi Mangione was not insured by United Healthcare. Whatever may have gone on with his back surgery years before had nothing to do with United Healthcare. Thompson had caused Mangione no direct personal harm, but the reason why Mangione picked Thompson as his mark is because he is symbolic of and part of a harmful system, similar to what Rodney Hinton Jr. did. However, a significant difference between the two of them is that Rodney Hinton Jr., a father, had just been shown a video of his son being killed. So if you support Luigi Mangione, but you do not support Rodney Hinton Jr., please take as much time as you need to deconstruct why. And I would suggest starting with the recognition that it's probably because Luigi Mangione's mark is also your mark, because the harm that he has experienced is a harm that you also experience. Whereas Rodney Hinton Jr.'s mark is not also your mark, because the harm that he and his family and his community have experienced is not a harm that you experience.
I know people are going to get lost in the weeds on all this Rodney Hinton Jr. stuff, and I understand that the officer that he hit had nothing to do with his son being shot. But listen, if you work for a fucking gang, sometimes gang shit happens. And I'm not defending it, but what I do want to say, police, anybody that's sympathetic, you back the blue, all that stuff, listen to me very carefully. If you don't start fucking holding yourself accountable, more shit like this is going to happen. You protect each other, you fucking lie for each other, you plant evidence, you do these paid administrative leaves, you shuffle yourselves around. And that's why people are pissed off. No one's here to hold you accountable except you, and you're doing a shit-ass job of it.
April 5th, there were thousands of protests all over the United States. And I saw videos of them all over the internet all day yesterday and today. They were anywhere from a few hundred to tens of thousands of people at these protests. You know who didn't show up? Were people from the black and brown community. You know who else didn't show up? Cops. I didn't see any cops in any of these videos. That is living proof that institutionalized racism is strong and powerful in the United States of America. The system was written for white people. April 5th, with all the protests, is all the proof and evidence any of these deniers need to see. The only time cops will show up to events are if people from the black and brown community show up.
Trump officials seek to bring first white Afrikaner refugees to U.S. next week. Shocking. If you're brown and you're a refugee and you want to seek asylum, nope, can't do it. But if you are a white South African seeking asylum or refugee status, no problem. This is just further evidence that Trump is trying to make this country white. The whole great replacement theory always is in the back of his mind. The racists, the white nationalists hate the idea that this country is very diverse, and eventually, not too many years from now, white people will be the minority and they can't have that. So they are bringing in the South Africans. Yeah, got it.